Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the LoneWolf Howlcast. I am your host, LoneWolf, along again with Tiral.
How's it going?
So, Tiral, guess what?
What's going on?
Our last video actually got real comments this time from real users that weren't us using alternate accounts.
Were they bots? Were they Russian bots?
I don't think so. There is one, I'm going to dubiously use the term guy, who said, well, I guess if I launch it, it's going to play in the background. So dead air for a second while I launch it and pause it. Whatever. I'm going to call him the guy. He doesn't like it. I guess too bad. This is so hilariously bad. And there's another comment that said, you people are so cringe. You and I are real people now. We're validated, Tiral.
I was smiling. I'm so happy. People commented.
Yeah, real comments that, as I said a minute or two ago, we're not Tiral and I using alt accounts to try and draw some attention.
I was thinking about buying some Vietnamese votes, like 500 accounts followed for like $2.
Nice.
We can get that action going like all the other starting podcasts.
Well, I figured we'd do it, old school and actually get real people.
Yeah, that's lame, man. Kind of backwards thinking is that?
Well, that leads into my next topic because I clicked on one of them to check out their channel. Not giving anybody any credit here. If you want to check it, check our video. You can see who posted. It's zero content at all and a giant banner that says trans rights are human rights. So I agree. Good idea where this person's coming from.
I definitely agree with that sentiment.
You and I are going to have a heated discussion about that at some other point, I guess, but not right now. Because there's something that I was leading into with this. This person's probably afraid of his own testosterone and for some reason feels guilty that he's male. I don't know. It's a picture of a guy on the thumbnail. So you and I, we both like some college sports. I particularly thoroughly enjoy Duke, Chapel Hill, and NC State basketball after my days down in North Carolina. And every now and then I like cruising through some of the collegiate sports subreddits. And boy, did I find a fun one this time, Tiral. Stony Brook University, it appears their men's lacrosse team has somehow independently funded, without the school's knowledge or the school's approval or through any professional or approved channels, a poster to draw attention to joining lacrosse with a blonde bikini-clad lady on front of a field of green with what looks like the Stony Brook logo behind her. It is now 138 comments deep, and almost one of the first comments is, honestly, this is kind of a rapey vibe. I'm trying to do it in our mutual friend's voice. I'm pretty sure you know who I'm emulating right now.
I mean, he's never wrong, so.
Man, that guy is riding the edge. He's riding the edge of that spectrum, man. He's so high functioning, and yet he Rain Mans us all the time.
All the time, yeah. He's like, you can never really argue against him because he's usually right. And you're just like, damn it. But no, I mean, I've got some thoughts, but let's go with you first because I think you have more impassioned ones than I do.
Sure. So let's harken back to the good old days of the 80s, even the 90s, when it was super cool to have a poster of a bikini-clad woman in your room. And what went better together with bikini-clad women was sports, beer, and barbecuing, right?
I mean, beefcake and what was the male version? It was beefcake calendars.
The male version is beefcake, and I think the female version is cream puff, right?
Or glamour.
So you're a young guy. You had some cream puff posters hanging in your room, whatever. Let's I guess go down to the beach. Probably not in this utter crap weather we're experiencing right now. Let's go down to the beach when it warms up and see some bikini-clad women. Probably, maybe tossing around, I don't know, a Frisbee with some male friends. And Mr. Commenter, who I'm not going to give any credit, please go tell these women that they're giving off a seriously rapey vibe. Or for that matter, let's see, there's this other platform, it's Insta, right? Where women love to show off their new nails and their makeup and their hair. They're really on point eye makeup. They just happen to be looking over their shoulder while they're snapping the selfie in the mirror. And usually they're in a thong or their underwear with their butt squarely in the middle of the composition of the photo. So, Mr. Poster, go ahead and tell them about their rapey vibe, too. This is literally a woman standing upright without even, like, she's actually sneering is what it looks like. She's not even, like, licking her lips or, like, doesn't even have anything phallic in her
She
hands.
looks sexy. She's trying to do a sexy pose.
Yeah, she was trying. I feel like I recognize her, and I can't place it. I'm hoping by the end of this Howlcast I can figure that out. Yeah, it's literally, she's got, like, her hands on her hips. She's a little ripped, and she's in a bikini. Big effing deal. It's almost feeling like there's an attack on masculinity. Like, masculinity is supposed to be suppressed, and we're not supposed to be in touch with our testosterone, which drives us to be attracted to women. You know, we're so visually activated that, like, that's what we need to get going. You want to draw attention for young guys who are overflowing with testosterone to join your lacrosse club. Chances are having an attractive bikini-clad woman on the cover is the way to do it.
I'm coming from a different place, though. I know where you're coming from.
You bastard.
I think you're speaking more globally about like general trends, but I have a different view of this in particular. I think it's more about the university itself only recently becoming a Division One sports type school where the school really got into sports and started heavily leaning on football, lacrosse, a couple other sports. Because once you're Division One in one sport, you're Division One in every sport. And lacrosse is probably the most successful sports that the university has, and so it's the one that needs to recruit the most. All throughout the South and many northern sports schools. So you got the Penn States and you got the Michigans.
Wait, I have to interrupt you, Tiral. I apologize. This is not. I don't think this is the official
booster. It was not the official. It was a booster group.
Yeah, but it's for a men's lacrosse club. It's not even the official team of the university.
Oh, I was wrong then.
It's SBU Club Lax.
Club for the lacrosse group. Okay, all right. Well, you know what? I was just gonna say that. Let me just finish my thought, even though it's wrong. Most of these very competitive sports schools, they do things to attract players. Including, having beautiful girls, having posters and all that jazz. This particular university is not used to that. So I could see why, in general, the student body, most of who are not into sports, they have like this kind of a bad reaction to it. Now that you corrected me about what it was just for a group of people wanting to have an intramural, and they have every right, within reason, to advertise the way they want to. I think it's just that this is a school that's not sports orientated, that's now getting some people who are into sports, and it's just, there's a culture clash. I'm not so sure it's about masculinity. Like, in particular, I think it's just that this is a place where sports isn't a big deal, but it's starting to be, and that friction.
Well, I know 3 or 5 years ago, the Athletics men's basketball team, I think, was invited to March Madness.
Yeah,
I'm not wrong.
No, you're not wrong at all. They definitely made a run. They did really well in a couple of tournaments too. It's a student body that's not that big into sports, and to see, a provocative little intramural advertisement online, which you can't really stumble upon. You got to go there. Like, Instagram is bad that way. Unless you pay for advertising, people can't just shove things in your face.
I'm going to drop a spoiler alert. I think I'm going to have to put the awooga in here too.
Okay.
Sex sells, Tiral. I don't know if anybody's aware of that, but look at any catalog, look at any jeans commercial, any men's cologne or women's perfume commercial.
They're selling,
they're selling the imagery.
You want to play?
They're selling the idea of what you could be.
Yeah.
Or what you could get.
It was selling a bro frat culture type thing. And, I think it's their right, especially when it's just a private little group that's not really school related, to do the way they want to do it within reason. I think they were within reason. I also think it's people's right to kind of react the way they do, because it's like, if they feel ick about something. I am with you, though, when it comes to, you can criticize but you also have to be within reason. And to call something rapey when it's just a sexy girl.
If it was her holding something like phallic, and it was like the whole entire lacrosse team surrounding her with like leers on their face,
Yeah,
maybe that might be a bit cringeworthy.
oh,
But
for
it's
sure. For
like
sure.
what she's wearing. You could see that at the beach. You could see that actually these days women are wearing almost that to the gym. I know on most probably some southern campuses you'd see this sunning, somewhere on like a common lawn somewhere on campus.
The girl was trying to do a sexy pose, and she's very pretty. So
you know what this reminds me of? And I'm derailing the hell out of this, Tiral, and I apologize, and I cut you off like 10 times. But you and I are of an age when we were in college, way back in the day. Do you remember when the promoters used to leave the promotion cards all over the desks in the classrooms? That's kind of who this chick looks like. She looks like she stepped off one of those old school promoter cards. Even the pose, kind of,
Yeah, I mean, people were ruthless about advertising back in the day. I think they still are, just not physically. It's all on the internet.
I want to touch something you said. I'm sorry. I really suck at this tonight, my friend. You are 100% correct. Despite the clampdown on free speech, and if you don't, sign on to the unspoken social contract, then all of a sudden you're some sort of ist. Pick one, pick your favorite flavor, I guess. Everybody's entitled to their free speech, and you can definitely express that. I don't like this picture. But if you dig into these comments, the main commenter who's opposed is very much trying to project their discomfort onto everybody else and wants them to be uncomfortable because this person is uncomfortable. And literally scrolling through it, out of the 138 comments so far, it looks like there's roughly 2 voices of reason trying to explain how the male mind and testosterone work and the forces of attraction. And every blue-haired beta cuck on here is afraid of their own masculinity and is trying to enforce some sort of testosterone fear on everybody else in this chat. It's insane.
I mean, okay, first of all, what kind of person would take the effort to comment on this in the first place?
A college student with nothing else to do.
Right. I mean, and even if you are a college student with nothing to do you want to initiate a horrible internet argument?
Well, sure, because this type of personality assumes they're right. They are correct. Yeah. I don't want to say left and right because that might get confusing down the road here. They assume they are correct because of their little genre that they decided to claim as their own.
Yeah, it's I mean it's a little bit of a microcosm of internet culture or dialogue in general. Like it's just I think a lot of people more often than not normal people they just look at internet commenting and be like, why should I get involved? It's just gonna cause problems. And like maybe I'm looking for a job and they do a background search and they find this one comment, where I was being sarcastic and it sounds really bad out of context. Like normal people are now really being careful with social media. They're not leaving comments, they're not really expressing themselves. It's a lot of self-censorship. And the people who are either crazy, they don't care. So like the not so well balanced folks are just commenting anyway. So you either get crazy ones that's like, oh, this is rapey, or like on the opposite, like, ultra men's rights, whatever. Like, oh, this is the girls that alphas want, like some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like the internet commentary is reserved only for the crazy. Everyone normal is just like, you know what? I'm not gonna get involved. Just gonna move on.
I'm leaving that lip smack in this time too because that was very appropriate.
I mean, like if you're halfway normal, you don't want to get involved with this. It's old. We know what it ends. It ends with no one winning. It ends with you wasting time. It ends with then like a couple months down the road, you were like, hey, like I did comment on that really bad thread. Maybe I should take that out. Like so why go through the effort of finding a thread you did 6 months ago? Just don't comment. I think how many times in the last few years have me and you said to one another, Twitter ain't real life. Like
right.
Tumblr isn't real life.
Especially
Facebook.
now at the madhouse that Twitter is. It's a freaking clown world over there.
Yeah, like Twitter is absolutely not real life. Tumblr is absolutely not real life. Reddit is even my favorite place to be, is absolutely not real life.
Yes, correct.
Like, so, if anybody assumes that anything off the internet reflects what's outside, I'm not telling, oh, go touch grass. I'm not being that guy. I'm just saying only the crazies are leaving comments now. Only the crazies are arguing vociferously in meaningless bullshit.
Guess what, Tiral?
What?
That makes you and me super crazy because the whole mission statement for this Howlcast was for us to be a voice of reason and free speech in a world where that's being clamped down on if you don't toe the social agenda.
Yeah, we're doing a podcast every few months. We're pretty crazy. Like, I think by definition, like, yes, you're right. And let's move
This
on
is the
before I get
perfect entry for me to drop in the meme of two wild and crazy guys when I do the video edit.
you know, like, but I mean, I'm just talking about internet commentary and culture and dialogue. Like, there's really not a lot of sincere back and forth. I do appreciate when there is, though. When people take things serious, it's usually really great. Like, even though criticize Reddit for not being real life, some very smart people are on there and they express their opinions, their expertise. I get a lot out of it. Some very funny people are on there, and even if they're not explaining something, they're making some really hilarious jokes. It makes my day. It's not all bad. It's just most of the time it is. Most of the time, it's not real life, and it's not real people, and people who are online too much, they get strange. And you read the strangeness. Like, who sees a picture of a hot chick randomly placed for an intramural lacrosse group
By the
and
way,
finds it rapey? Like, it's
I,
very
I think
strange.
this might be, I'm zooming in. This looks like she's been photoshopped over onto this because there's like a lot of black line cutout around her
Oh
shoulders
yeah.
in the back, like where the black meets the grass.
Yeah.
So I don't think she actually. I originally thought that the
She was
the
silly.
Stony Brook logo was photoshopped in, and she was actually standing outside somewhere for this photo. Man,
Dude, it was
this
probably
damn
like
picture is so
freshman.
90s, and I feel like I should know what this is.
It's probably just a
It's
freshman.
probably like
Didn't
it's
have
probably like the
no.
probie on the team. They're like, dude, Photoshop this up, will you? It's like, I
Yeah,
got it.
done. Say no more, fam.
It'd be the most ironic, like M. Night Shyamalan twist on this whole thing,
Yeah.
as if this is actually a dude.
Hey, I'm for it, man. Go play
Yeah, we know which way
lacrosse.
you lean, my brother. But after
Hey,
scrolling through the
it's about
thread,
swinging a stick with a lot of other dudes, and the only protection you got is gloves and a helmet. Like, come now. But I think you're right to use this as an example of highlighting something that's really disappointing about being on the internet
it's
now.
mundane. If you look at it, it's freaking mundane.
Yeah.
The Sears catalog had more than this going on, you know?
Well, I don't know what Sears catalog you've been reading.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore, but the good one that used to have the great stuff in the back.
The fake Sears
I
catalog.
gotta say one more thing before I forget because it's been slipping my mind, and I've read through all 138 comments, and I've been trying to stay abreast of what's happening here. Definitely pun intended. Nobody's asked the most important question or raised the most important comment out of this entire diatribe that eventually devolves into two people and maybe like a third or a fourth party that jump in just to say something extra here and there. Nobody's identified the model, Tiral, at all. The most important thing we need to know is who is this,
My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
right? We just strayed further and further from God
Yeah.
without at least identifying her and crediting her for her work, her hard work.
It was probably just some rando photoshopped,
I'm
you know.
telling you, look at it again. There's actually a second photo, which somehow I missed. There's a second photo. She does look a hell of a lot more feminine in the second shot, and I feel like I should know who this is.
My disappointment is immeasurable. My day is ruined after he told me that. More feminine. Ugh. Who needs that?
Anyway, this was supposed to be a short one tonight, folks, so I think we're going to wrap it up with check your rapey vibe privilege at the door. Don't be afraid of your masculinity or the fact that you have testosterone in your system. And if you don't like it, you are entitled to your opinion, but don't project your discomfort on others and try to convince them to be uncomfortable because you are.
My advice is never read the comment section.
Well, we have to. We have 2 real comments now, Tiral.
And I regret reading them both. You should never read comment section. That's the proverb for today. Never read comment sections. Ever.
All right. Well, with that in mind, we're going to wrap up. I'm going to say it anyway, even though it's probably going to bite us in the ass. But please keep the conversation alive and like and comment and subscribe. And I think I can get away with sharing this link to Reddit, right? There's been no the sub and the thread have not been shut down yet. So whoever the mod is hasn't even locked the comments yet. So I'm going to go ahead and share it.
Mods in Instagram.
This isn't Insta. This is on Reddit.
Oh,
and it's posted on the university's subreddit, as far as I can tell, and nobody's shut it down yet. So
maybe the Reddit monitors are men of culture. You know,
I doubt that. I've been locked out of stuff pointing out like common facts, and immediately I got a mod auto email. You're a racist. You've been banned permanently for the rest of your life. Oh. Meanwhile, it was a whole bunch of LGBT alphabet soup holding up a sign that was like the rainbow flag. It was whatever their little club name was for Palestine. And I just made a comment like, that's cool and all, but if they knew that this particular culture would probably have them up on the death sentence for their proclivities, they might want to rethink their actions. Yeah, and I got insta-banned. Insta-banned for inciting genocide, actually, is what it was. What?
That's
clearly, by calling out a common fact of the culture these people are trying to support, it was a little ironic that they're trying to support a culture that would kill them. Now I'm calling my straw man is complete. I am calling for genocide.
Oh my god.
All right, Tiral, let's wrap this one up. We're going to keep it short anyway. Like and subscribe and keep the conversation alive in the comments, folks. You 2 folks that have commented, please come back.
Have a good one.